This conference will now be
Okay,
recorded.
fabulous. So this is Sage Fixed Assets Lite. And what I really like about Sage Fixed Assets, and especially the Lite, is that all the product lines look the same. Whether it is a network edition or whether it's a Sage Lite edition, the screen you have right now, it looks the same. So if you should ever need to upgrade to a network edition, the screens look the same. There are just simply some features not available in the Lite edition, which, we have here. So you can see over here to the bottom left, there is, let me open company. There's a sample company here, and we're going to open it up. And that's kind of comes default with the system. On the bottom left, so we call this a sort of targeted taskbar on the left. All of these things, you sort of also have the option of using the menus up on top. Since I've been selling this for so many years, over 23 years, I still tend to navigate through the old menus up here, which is kind of funny. But this is your list of assets. All your assets sort of look like a spreadsheet. Down at the bottom, there's like a slide bar that shows you all the user fields. And up here is the group of assets. So these are user defined. So you could actually create groups yourself based on different criteria. And there are groups that come with the product, as you can see, all complete, all incomplete, active assets, disposed assets already fall in their own group. So even if you dispose of an asset, you don't have to classify it as anything other than completing the transaction, and it will automatically populate there. So what I like to always tell people as to why this product is so user friendly is that there really are only two views in this product. Isn't that great? So down here on the bottom, I just selected asset list, and that's what we are looking at, and then asset detail. Those are your two views. That's primarily where all your work is being done. Now, in this, view, there are some other things you can look at. Excuse me. In this, you can see transactions that you've done on an asset, a note tab, so if you needed to note anything, and a history tab, which is really just a log file. That's all that does is it it simply lets you see when somebody in the system made depreciation. It doesn't like drill down to a field, but it does literally say, "Hey, this happened today. Depreciation was run." Now, because this is a single user desktop version, you don't have a lot of bells and whistles that maybe some extra fields that maybe the other product does have. So you're going to want to look at that closely. But as I said, just two user views, asset list and the asset detail. Should you want to dispose of this asset, you would go over here to your task bar and it says dispose of an asset. You can also calculate depreciation on one asset or a group of assets. So what I'm going to focus on right now is just some of the key features that come with the product. Now, in the File menu, one of the things I really like is the user has the ability to do a custom import and export, and you'll find that in our Company Utilities menu. You will also see the ability to back up or restore all of your data on your own. So because it is a desktop version for Sage Lite, you really want that ability to maybe you want to run a sort of thing and you're like, oh, let me back it up first. So you can back up and restore easily. You also have the ability to have more than one company of data. So normally companies utilize the new company or create a company feature if they have multiple tax returns. So if that's the case, you have multiple legal entities. I just wanted you to know you could track that as a separate database. Our product has a global search and refine, as well as, oh, good, I'm glad that that's awesome and that all works out. Thank you for that chat. And then on the view assets here, it's the same as the taskbar down here. So there's more than one way to get somewhere. Also, assets here that you can see as the asset list button on the bottom that I have the nice little cursor here. So you can view assets, you can view reports, and our product has these two things that didn't always have them that I actually think sets them apart. It's the system administration button and the assistant center. We're going to go there in a little bit. On the asset menu, our product comes with the ability, of course, to dispose of an asset, right? To inactivate an asset. But it also has a neat feature to replicate an asset. So if you're using a good GAAP accounting procedures and you kind of have an invoice with three things on it, you do want to try your hardest to segregate them each on their own line item, because that helps with disposing of an asset more efficiently if one part of that purchase were to be disposed. And I bring this up and I want to really talk about that only because the replicate feature, first and foremost, allows you to take an invoice, type in the asset and the cost, the acquisition date, populate your fields, and then hit replicate the number of times that invoice might have a separate asset in it. Now, if you do that, you absolutely want to change and edit the different descriptions of maybe they have unique information. And of course, you want to distribute the acquisition cost or the value. This product does not have the ability to do a partial transfer. It's one of the things that are missing, and that feature enables clients to be able to easily, swiftly take a line item and partially transfer it into multiple line items, and it does all the math for you. But we're really in the Sage Lite product that is for not a ton of bells and whistles, great at straight line, great reporting, and a lot of functionality for you that you could take it to your, the next level, even that your CPA may or may not be doing. Again, you can inactivate your asset as well. Under the Depreciate menu, this is how simple it is. Once you're done with the month, you simply select Depreciation, and you can depreciate a whole group of assets or one asset, and you can depreciate the tax book, internal book, if you have a state, AMT, and now Sage Lite comes with two custom books. It did not always provide that. And these custom books sometimes have to do with county tax and some other things that people can utilize for a unique tax calculation or to track depreciation for another reason. So you can certainly see that it's very easy to depreciate, and you would do that in the Depreciate menu. One of the other things that our product comes with is a period set and close. You could close the period. You can always open it. You can see if you can clear. But the feature here basically says your month is balanced and okay, you set depreciation the way it was. Our product has the ability, Sage Lite, to do annual projections on depreciation cost, monthly projections on cost. So while you're doing budgeting, maybe they ask, okay, how much depreciation is really going to hit in this GL account? You certainly can run the projection reports to make that happen. Now, I want to highlight something that is unique to our product that I really do appreciate and like that they added. I think they added Audit Advisor somewhere in 2013 or 14. But this is a really cool feature that when you click and run this, it goes through your database and it alerts you to different depreciation methods that you could exercise, or maybe a special depreciation or accelerated. So it kind of audits your assets and may give you a recommendation. All right, on to probably the meats and bones of this, because honestly, 1,000 products probably are on the market for depreciating. But what really sets us apart is the actual reporting feature. And reporting features like this one, the standard report feature, it to me is phenomenal because honestly, once you depreciate your assets, this is the most important piece. How you can easily get a report, the way it saves it, how you can distribute reports potentially. So our standard report comes with these already created for you. And these are all you need. Depreciation expense in theory. Now, if there is something you want to tweak, or if there's something that you want to sort of have in a different view, there's some options for you to change up a little bit. The Sage Lite version does not enable you to add on the report writer that is designed by Crystal. It comes with our network edition and it comes with our standard fixed asset depreciation. So Sage Lite does not have that ability, but it doesn't really affect a lot of people that have a small and maybe a more simplified approach to their fixed assets. That has depreciation expense, your disposal report, your summary reports for depreciation. But I also like this one. If your general ledger posting report uh, isn't something that's standard with the product, you really shouldn't look at it. Because honestly, at the end of the month, when you run it, and I know your CPA does all this and then he sends it back, and then maybe you make the journal entries. Now you run depreciation and you run this report. It tells you what debits and credits to hit for expense and cost. You don't even have to design the report. You simply select it. And you select this after you run depreciation. So I won't really have any depreciation in this sample company, but you basically hit all assets and you just run it for the reporting period you're in, and it will give you the journal entries. So it is really one of the reasons why I absolutely think Sage Fixed Assets hits it out of the park in all their products. Is they make the reports available to you. No way of design. You don't have to custom design them, which is great. It also has a property tax summary and detail report. But then let's go to the next bucket here, tax reports. This is what we pay our CPAs for, and yet this product provides your ITC, your depreciation and amortization form 5562. So it really takes the guesswork out of it. And it even does an alternative, your AMT. It does all of these reports, and then you can archive every report. Let's print a report right now. I'm going to print the depreciation summary report. Remember I said you could tweak these, slightly? So you can see that there are 3 tabs here in the depreciation report. You will see these same 3 tabs in other reports that we already have, what we call canned with the product. You're going to go to Format Report, and this feature is something you'll get very familiar with because you might not know what this report is run, the depreciation summary. And it certainly right now is probably sorted by just the system number. I'm going to do a alternate sort for you. I would like my depreciation summary sorted by GL expense account. Yeah, that's what I want to see, the GL expense account, and I want subtotals on this run report. Now, why I'm showing you this is because all of our reports come with a really great feature for you, the user. After you tweak these to make them look a little bit the way you want them to look, you can actually utilize a button in the upper left-hand corner, which will enable you to export it to a number of values. You could either do Excel, you could do Word. Maybe I needed to run depreciation, and that's why this isn't initializing. That might be why. So I'm going to, yep, I just canceled it. So let me choose, I don't have depreciation in here. Let me choose a net book value report. So, okay, so the net book value report, which is a very common one, let me do this. I would like to sort it by GL expense account and by acquisition date. So I'm going to run this report. So Again, a nice canned report, you simply go over to the field attributes that I showed you. You add your own sort. And at that point, where once it pops up here in a few seconds, we then are going to have an option to export it in a multitude of ways and very easily. And I think that's one of the key things. Another thing I want you to see down here in the bottom as I'm circling with my cursor is add report to favorites. That's such a nice feature because when you add it to favorites, then you can always have it there. All right, so this is the net book value report that I just printed. That was nice and easy. And as you can see, I have GL expense account here, and I even have it sorted by date. So I think that's really cool. And here's the option I wanted to show you. Up in the upper left-hand corner here, there is an export report button. And let me tell you, that export report button is on every single report that you have. And you simply select the method you want to export it to. And look at all the values that you have: PDF, Excel, Word, XML, and of course Crystal, because these were all designed with a Crystal viewer in our product. So if your company does own Crystal, you could actually save it as a Crystal and open it and even customize it on your own accord. So it's easy in our reports. You simply would, grab one of these standard reports, format it any way you want. You can view the layout. I'm going to add it to favorites and save. So I just added this to favorites, and I want to show you where that goes. So whenever you do that, look at where it goes, net book value. I could have renamed it as well. But so now I don't have to go to standard reports, net book value. Your favorites are saved right here on the bottom of the reports menu. All right, we have about another 10 minutes and then we'll pause the recording and I'll certainly open this up for some questions. The next thing I want to show you is the customize area. Remember I showed you the group manager view? Again, I'm on one asset. I'm actually going to just toggle right over to the asset list because, as I said, it's very user friendly because it absolutely enables you to just toggle between two screens very quickly. This is the group menu. This is what you and I would commonly have called like a query, a custom query back in the day. So you can create those and add those yourself under the customize button. You could go to group manager. Also, these buttons actually do something. Remember I told you I'm old school. I still go to these menus. So you could go and save a group and create this. My husband likes to say it's OG. So, but I'm definitely still following that old software format. You also can replace, this neat little button allows you to replace certain fields with another one. That's kind of cool. So, but back to the customize, I'm going to go to group manager and let's say we want to create a group. Oh, this is a new feature. Fabulous. Multi-delete in group manager. I just downloaded the 2020 version, so I wasn't aware of that. So these are the groups that are actually defaulted in our system. If I wanted to set up a training by Zan group, that's my nickname. Okay, I'm simply going to go in and say, you know what? I have a directive. I need to look at all high valued assets. That's what I need to do. And I need to go see what we still have on our books that's high valued. So I'm actually going to have it to take acquisition value is greater than, let's say I'm going to say $1,000. That's not a high value asset, but I don't know what is in this particular sample company. Now that I've said that I want it to look in that particular field, I think it's important for me to net book value equals. I want to know what still has value. There we go. So I'm going to replace, okay, with the net book value Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Equals, I should say it's greater than 1,000. Maybe we want 5,000. There we go. Add the criteria. Let me remove this one. Okay, now I actually have a group and how I want to sort it. So I'm going to get in this group everything that's over 1,000, and I want to sort this by acquisition date in ascending order. Add. Okay, going to click OK. Now you can see I actually have a group training by Zan. So Group Manager is very easy to navigate. If you don't use something, you can actually highlight it, click delete. That's really easy. So I'm going to hit close on this. I did want to show you not only can you customize your own groups, these are the fields that you have. Now, another feature in Sage Lite that's a little less, meaning a lighter feature than the standard edition, is absolutely the number of fields you have. If these are enough fields for you to work with, and seemingly that means you have under 1,000 line items, because that's the other criteria for Sage Lite, is that you must have under 1,000 separate line items. So if these are the ones that work for you, you can see we have a custom date field. On the left displays what's default, and on the right it displays how you can customize it and you can populate it to what you want that to represent. So location to you might mean building, or it might mean floor. Owner to you, you might want to just call it end user or manager. So as you can see over on this side, you can customize the fields. And you can also make sure that the drop-down menu is populated. And that's one of the last things that I'll show you. First, let's go into my custom group, Training by Zan. Oh, wow, look at all the assets that have a net book value more than 5,000. See, I created the group. Now that I have that, you can easily go up to reports and run a standard report. That's how this product works. Create your query of group and then go to your report for that group of assets. Makes it very, very easy. So now I want to show you the last bit of information, and that is where the actual transactions fall. So you can see in the status field, I have a disposed asset. I want you to see what that looks like. So remember I mentioned the disposed, I mentioned the transaction field. So there are two views again, the asset view and the detailed view. Perfect. So this is the detailed view of the asset that's disposed. And you go over to transactions, and this is where that disposal is listed. What's really cool about our product, there's a disposal worksheet we can view, and you can print it. And what can you do over here in the upper left hand? You can export this for whomever needs to see this. This is an air conditioning unit that got disposed. Everything on this disposal worksheet indicates whether it was a net gain or a loss. That's a pretty cool feature. Now, you can also view what the transaction looked like when you actually did the disposal. Very easy to do one. You simply populate the date. You populate the method. It automatically calculates your gain and loss for you. So, disposal is very cool. And once you do that, again, it follows that process. It puts it in the singular asset record where there are four tabs, as we discussed in the beginning. A main asset tab, and what you could do is move this bar up and down. This bar is what I like to say is on the top is your constant data fields, and on the bottom is the money. This is all of the fields that come with your product. The property type, adds life. This is everything. Now we're simply going to go to the Add Asset button over here on your task because I want to show you the drop-down menu selection. So when you do this, you will see, there you go. So in that customized field section, when I talked about the smart list, our product will easily be able to populate a drop-down list for each field to make it easier for you in your entry. So I have one more minute. I'm pretty spot on with, let's say now you are definitely using the product and you need some help. You have a question you're not sure about. Over on the left hand side is the system administration button. That's a really cool thing because it helps you. It's a quick guide to your user guide on different things to work in the system, and the Assistance Center, which has really grown over the years. Sage has incorporated a live chat. They also have the user guide right here as a PDF that you can archive and pop up. And it has these quick questions, these quick go-tos, that productivity tips, and even different areas for you to focus on if you're kind of learning about fixed assets. And as an added bonus, they put the industry resources here for the IRS, and these all link to some rules associated with depreciation. All right, so I believe that really handles a primary bit of our product. If you should have one of these ERP products or these GL products, these will link one way, which basically means it will take all your depreciation postings for you and it will send them to these ERP products. And yes, they are primarily Sage products. Now, there is a universal link down here. So if your ERP product enables a CSV load, you could, in fact, utilize that link. And that way, it just reduces your journal entries for the month. And right from our help menu is where you get support. Your product updates every year. There's two of them that you pay for with your maintenance and support, your annual support. And you also can update your user information and see where your customer number is. So with that said, I am going to stop the recording. This is the Sage Fixed Asset Lite 2020 version, and I thank you so much. Okay, are there any questions?
This conference will now be recorded.